Now, does everybody see this? Now, when you see this picture, what comes to your imagination? Yes, this is a symbol of the sexual revolution. Now, the sexual revolution is one of the great episodes of American society that greatly helped to bring in this infusion of sexual immorality. And it is so sad. This dear woman is holding up her bra in front of all of these hungry men, and she has literally been told that this exhibition is a symbol of her freedom and liberation. Now, do you think that these men are looking at her because they're like, oh, look at that wonderful child of God? Do you think those men are saying? Unfortunately not. Anybody know who this woman was? This was a woman by the name of Margaret Sanger. She's greatly responsible for something called Planned Parenthood. Anybody ever heard of that institution? Yes. Anybody know who this man is? Yes, that man grew up as a Methodist Christian. Now, Hugh Hefner, is he known for being a great evangelist of modern times? He's known for Playboy. Now, was Playboy a magazine that taught boys how to have exercise and how to excrete toxins from the system? Was that what Playboy stood for? Unfortunately. Anybody know who this was? Her last name was Brown. She was a woman who wrote for Cosmopolitan magazine during the 20th century, greatly responsible for the sexual immorality of many women. Anybody know who this was? Man by the name of Michael Malcolm. This man was a transgender woman who transitioned, quote unquote, into a woman, and he is considered as a trailblazer in this reality. Now, does anybody know who this man was? It's a man by the name of Alfred Kinsey. Man by the name of Alfred Kinsey. This man is considered as the father or the godfather of the sexual revolution. Notice. We don't have time to go through all these details. Alfred Kinsey, pervert or pioneer. Alfred Kinsey was the Paul Revere of the sexual revolution, or a cultural pariah, a pervert who opened the Pandora's box of deviant American sexuality. You know, it's amazing. This man did all of these studies where he would talk about that even children were sexual from birth and all of these things. And it actually came out that this man was a flaming pedophile, a homosexual and a pervert. But all of the sexual science that is predominant in society comes from Alfred Kinsey. Now, who here knew this by show of hands? Only a few of us. Again, one of the things that Satan has got us to do is to not understand history. There is a reason, unfortunately, why society is the way it is. All right, skipping past. Again, this is taken from the Spirit of Prophecy. Notice what this is. Wherever the divine precepts are rejected, sin ceases to appear sinful, or righteousness what? Desirable. You know, again, we've gotten to a point where righteousness doesn't even seem attractive. You know, there is a hymn that says, turn your eyes upon Jesus and look full at his wonderful face, and the things of earth will grow strangely dim. Now, Judas was looking at Christ's wonderful face, but did the things of earth grow strangely dim to Judas? No, they didn't. Did they grow strangely dim to Balaam, who sold out God's people for filthy lucre? Did it grow strangely dim to Balaam? No, it didn't. Those who refuse to submit to the government of God are wholly unfitted to govern themselves. Through their pernicious teachings, the spirit of insubordination is implanted in the hearts of children and youth who are naturally impatient of control, and a lawless, licentious state of society results. You know, it is so sad, and again, I don't say this as a means of condemnation, but do you know that many of our 13, 14, and 15-year-old children are losing their virginity at these ages? Even younger, and many persons are saying that this is normal. It's normal for children to be experimenting with themselves. It's not a big deal. That self-abuse and masturbation and all of these things are a natural process of the human experience. While scoffing at the credulity of those who obey the requirements of God, the multitudes eagerly accept the delusions of what? Of Satan. They give rein to lust and practice the sins which have called down judgments upon the what? You see, the fact that God has permitted society to get to this point, again, just shows how loving and merciful God is. There's been many persons that have said that if God does not destroy this world because of its wickedness, he's going to have to apologize to Sodom and Gomorrah. You see, brothers and sisters, we need to pray that the Lord will help us first, and that the Lord can use us as a vehicle to help others. We're getting to a point. We're getting to a point. Now, everybody see this. This is a symbol of something called pride and shame. Pride and shame. Let's turn our Bibles very quickly. Let's turn our Bibles very quickly as we seek to get through this. Philippians chapter 3. Notice what the Bible says. Philippians chapter 3, starting in verse 18. Philippians chapter 3, starting in verse 18. The Bible says, "For many walk, of whom I have told you often, now tell you even weeping, that they are enemies of the cross of what?" Not everyone who professes to be a Christian is a Christian. "Whose end is destruction, whose God is their..." Do you think that we need to, by God's grace, overcome the power of appetite? Yes. "Whose God is their belly, and whose glory is in their shame." Now, why does shame come? Because of sin. So the Bible is saying that they are glorifying in their sin. "Who mind earthly things." Who mind earthly things. You know, it's amazing that there's a saying that says, "I can become so heavenly minded that I know what." You see, but that's not our problem in this generation. Our problem is that we have become so earthly minded that we are no heavenly good. Notice. Everybody see this. I know it's graphic, but this is the state of the reality. Everybody see this. Graphic, I know, but this is the state of the reality. Anybody know who this is? A gentleman by the name of Prince. This man greatly brought androgyny into the mainstream. And unfortunately, we know that this was the past when we didn't know God, but many of us were listening to his music. Many of us as women were just beside ourselves with adulation for Prince. Now, what type of spirit do you think was leading Prince to make the music and to wear the clothes that he was wearing? Do you think that it was the Spirit of God? No, it wasn't. It was the spirit of Satan. Unfortunately. Everybody see this. Now, this is a man. He's a very famous K-pop artist over in Korea. Now, does this man look very masculine? No, he looks very feminine. Very feminine. Everybody see this. Anybody know who this was? Grace Jones. Now, this woman grew up in a very God-fearing Christian household. But again, she brought androgyny into the mainstream in the 1980s. Everybody see who this is? A dear sister by the name of Zendaya, a very popular actress in today's society. And again, does she look very feminine in this picture? Very masculine. Unfortunately, this is a very licentious young woman. Everybody see this? You see, this is actually a woman. This is a woman. This person was born a woman, but without context, you would literally think that this was a man. This is the state of confusion that we are currently living in. And we're actually told that this was one of the great reasons why God brought the flood upon the antediluvians. There was so much confusion. Now, again, as we see this, should this call forth pity from our hearts? Yes. Now, should we condone the sin? No, we shouldn't. But should it call forth pity? Yes, it should. Everybody see this. This is a woman. This is a woman. But without context, you would literally think that this was a man. Again, this is a woman. But without context, you would think that this was a man. This is a man. But without context, you would literally think that this is terrifying. This is a man. This is also a man who is the first transgender model to adorn the cover of Sports Illustrated. Again, this is a man. Notice. This is taken from a very powerful book called The Phallus. This says the androgen, the homosexual, and the pervert in ancient civilizations had symbolic value and were considered in ancient civilizations to be what? You see, unfortunately, in Babylon, Medo-Persia, Greece, and Rome, these civilizations actually saw homosexuality as something to be greatly prized. We're going to skip past this. We don't have time. Everybody see this. This is actually a television program called It's a Sin. Glorying in the shame. All right, we're going to skip past this. Skip past. All right, this is one by the name of Mary Whitehouse. We don't have time to go through all these details. I'm sorry, we're going to have to skip past this. Powerful quotation. All right, does everybody see who this is? This is Frederick Douglass. This is a particular point that I want to bring out. This is Frederick Douglass. Now, who was Frederick Douglass? A civil rights abolitionist. God used him and many others to bring the light of the slavery question before the masses, especially in the United States. Notice, if there is no struggle, there is no what? Is that a biblical principle? Yes, it is. Notice this. Those who profess to favor freedom and yet depreciate agitation are men who want crops without plowing up the ground. You see, so many times we say that we want Christ, but we don't want Christ to break up the fallow ground of our heart. We don't want to give up the sin, but we want righteousness. They want rain without thunder and lightning. They want the ocean without the awful war in its many waters. This struggle may be a mortal one, or it may be a physical one, or it may be both moral and physical, but it must be a what? Now, when Jesus came to this earth, did he come to redeem man without a struggle? Did Satan just step back and just say, just destroy my kingdom? Is that what Satan said? Power concedes nothing without what? Without demand. This is why Jesus said that the gates of hell would not prevail against the ministry of Christ and his apostles. Notice, anybody know who this was? Booker T. Washington. Notice what the man said. I condemn its slavery as an institution, as well as know that in America, its slavery was established for selfish and what? Financial. Was it because of the curse of Cain? Foolishness. Notwithstanding the cruelty and moral wrong of slavery, the 10 million Negroes inhabiting this country, talking about America, who themselves or whose ancestors went through the school of American slavery, are in a stronger and a more hopeful condition materially, intellectually, morally, and religiously than is true of any equal number of black people in any other portion of the what? Now, especially those of us who are considered to be black persons, in light of what we and our forefathers have gone through in this nation, even around the world, in light of the privileges that we have, because we're not in slavery. God has so privileged us that we don't have to go through the struggles that our forefathers went through. Yes, this nation still has a lot of issues, but we are in a great state of privilege. But unfortunately, what are we doing with this great boon of heaven, especially as black persons? Notice this. What is this? Unfortunately, today, Satan has so hijacked even many of our minds, even as black persons, that in light of all of the struggles that Frederick Douglass and Booker T. Washington and Martin Luther King Jr. and all of these persons that laid all this groundwork, instead of using this freedom as a means of true liberation, we're using it for this. This is a gentleman by the name of Russell Westbrook. This is a very famous basketball player, and he's wearing what? And it's so sad, especially in our black community, these men are propped up as great beacons of morality and men that we should look to for leadership and prosperity. Anybody know who this is? A gentleman by the name of Odell Beckham Jr., a very popular football player, and he's wearing a what? Decked out in tattoos. And it is so sad with all these tattoos and all these things. Our dear young people are getting their whole bodies tattooed. You see, the more a person puts these tattoos on their body, it's a symbol of the spirits that are controlling the imagination. What is this? This is a gentleman by the name of Caleb Williams. He was just recently the #1 pick in the NFL draft, and this man is wearing a what? And again, all of these men are what? They're black. They're black. And on top of it, this dear young man even paints his fingernails. Lord have mercy. Anybody know who this is? Now, unfortunately, this was one of our darling idols when he was in the presidency. Notice from Newsweek, the first gay what? It's not funny. The first gay president. You see, brothers and sisters, it's one thing for people in the world to endorse all of this, but so many of us, even as black Christians, even black Seventh-day Adventists, were running to the ballot box to vote for this man merely because he was black. And as this man was endorsing homosexuality, we said, yes, Obama. Yes, these are the things that we love and endorse. Notice. Barack Obama told X, now this is not taken from Fox News, notice. Barack Obama told X, I make love to men daily, but in the imagination. It has been a rumor for a very long time that President Barack Obama was a closet homosexual. Notice. Now again, this is not from conspiracy theory news outlet. This is from where? The New York Post. Former President Barack Obama wrote out one of his androgynous mind and making love to men daily, but in the imagination. Notice, this is Obama speaking in regard to homosexuality. I must say that I believe this is an attempt to remove oneself from the present, a refusal perhaps to perpetuate the endless farce of earthly life. You see, I make love to men daily, but in the imagination. So he does it in his where? In his mind. My mind is androgynous to a great extent, and I hope to make it more so until I can think in terms of people, not women, as opposed to men. Lord have mercy. Now, brothers and sisters, in light of this, do you think that this dear brother needs prayer? Do you think that this dear brother needs deliverance? Yes, he does. It says, I see that I have been made a man and physically in life, and I choose to accept that contingency. Anybody know who this is? This is Kirk Franklin. Now, does Kirk Franklin profess to be a Christian? Kirk Franklin is not a worldling in the ordinary sense. This man professes to be a Christian. Maybe some of us are still listening to his music. But what is Kirk Franklin wearing in this picture? A skirt. Now, this picture was not taken at a private party at his house. This was at the 2017 Grammys. This is how he performed on stage, in a skirt. And it is so sad again that Kirk Franklin very sadly will gaslight Christians and make us believe that this is actually a representation of Christianity.